So in this video, I'm going to share my journey with food and the shame and guilt. So if you have struggled with eating disorders or disordered eating in the past, you might want to skip this video. So for a little bit of backstory, I used to have so many rules around my diet. I was never following a diet. I never wanted to necessarily, lose weight or see a drastic change in my weight, but I had a lot of rules around the things that I could and couldn't eat. Some of these rules included, food needing to be preservative-free, all natural, low carb, low sugar, organic, free range. Really, I was restricting the categories of food I could eat. So I had absolutely no dairy. I would eat 0 red meat. I would only allow myself to have a sweet maybe once a week. And I would stress out so much if someone brought in like treats or donuts to work for the day. I lived in a scarcity mindset around food, and I counted calories for a long time. For a little bit of context, I would lay in bed the night before, the next day, and I would enter in all the food on MyFitnessPal that I planned on eating for that day so that I knew how much I could eat and still stay within my calorie goal. And the calorie goal that I set for myself was very intentionally set so that it wasn't super drastic, but it was enough for me to have a low body fat and be able to see my abs, because I was obsessed with having very visible abs. During this time, I ate so much chicken, sweet potato, veggies, and rice that I literally, to this day, can barely handle eating it because it's so bland and boring, and I ate so freaking much of it. And at the time, I thought this was healthy. I had abs. I, made all my food at home. I had a really low body fat percentage, which it turns out it was probably too low for the amount of time that I held that body fat percentage. And I felt like I was being praised by the people in my life for how my body looked. So that was just reinforcing this eating pattern, oh yeah, you're living the dream, you're doing it right, you're doing it the healthy way. But in reality, all my thoughts were consumed by food. I was tired a lot of the time. I was working out 5 days a week. I was an in-person trainer, so I was teaching classes. I was demoing exercises while also maintaining this low calorie goal. While I was also in the world of personal training, I was also working at a health food restaurant, and all of the labels and the language around food consumed my every food decision. Things like gluten-free, preservative-free, natural, vegan, local, all of these things just was swarming my food decisions. And it really filled my brain with this pressure and this need to eat, for lack of a better word, clean. And I was obsessed with eating clean. In early January of 2020, last year, my mindset really started to change. I had quit my in-person personal training job to focus on my side hustle, Coda Fitness, which I do online training for. And then I also picked up a corporate job working 9 to 5 in an office. And I was freaking busy, so I really didn't have time to meal prep and obsess about food because I was just trying to do a good job at my job. So basically, I slowly started eating things that I had restricted myself from for so long. The place I worked at, they did catered lunches, and a lot of the times, there was dairy, there was red meat, there was, stuff that I had restricted myself for, and I just started eating it because it was what was there. During this time, I also stopped counting calories because I was busy. I just didn't want to stress about it, so I just stopped. I had pretty much had enough of counting calories. March 2020 happened when all the lockdowns really started to take, effect. I realized how much I had been depriving myself of certain foods for so long. I basically somehow snapped out of it, and I realized I want to eat fast food sometimes. I want to eat dairy, it tastes good. Slowly but surely, I just started eating these things that I had told myself I couldn't. I told myself these things hurt my stomach, which honestly, I eat them now, it doesn't hurt my stomach. It had just made it really apparent that I had been in this really weird, clouded place around food. So fast forward to now, February 2021, I don't know my body fat percentage. I only know my weight because the doctor told me it when I went in for my physical, and I'm eating intuitively, and I'm not restricting food groups just because I feel like restricting them. I've really shifted my mindset around food, and I've talked to a therapist about it. And I've spent a lot of time listening to podcasts and reading and watching videos from various dietitians and nutritionists who talk about intuitive eating. And that's something I've really been focusing on. I've been focusing on listening to my hunger cues and honoring them. So that has been a huge, huge change. I no longer associate my worth as a fitness professional with having abs. I no longer associate my worth, my value, or worthiness with the things that I eat. And yeah, if you can't tell, that was hard for me to share. But I just felt like with it being National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and with the fact that I've been, posting about fitness for quite some time, I wanted to share that that is something I've struggled with. If you've struggled with that before or think that that might sound like you, I will leave some resources in the caption. And yeah, thank you for listening.